Okay, so good morning or good afternoon or good evening, everybody. My name is Chris Nolin Q Tabacon, and I will be presenting my my presentation on fake news. So, apologies if I keep glancing there because I'm actually using a laptop, but my laptop doesn't have a stable microphone or a stable camera. So I'm using my cell phone to record. So, without further ado, let's move on to the outline. So, I will include objectives, disinfo, misinfo, and malinformation. As for how I will define that, I will discuss it as I go on with the video. So, our objectives here is to define information disorder and its forms, to promote fact checking as a daily practice, and to demonstrate how visuals can mislead and explain why people fall for false or misleading content. Now, here are the different types of news disorder. There's disinformation, misinformation, and malinformation. So, disinformation is the false information deliberately and often covertly spread in order to influence public opinion or obscure the truth. The prefix dis means lack of in Latin, and information means informare, which means to give form to or to shape a mind. Basically, when you put these two together, it means the lack of shape or the reversal of truth. So basically, disinformation is the spreading of fake news with the intent to harm. So here's my example here. Duterte is an NPA member, alleged NPA member. These two photos were the ones I found when I was scourging for sources. Like scourging for example and sources in for my disinformation sector or section of representation. Now it is easy to assume that Duterte is an NPA member based on these pictures alone, but just really think about it. Is this is the same Duterte that implemented the Republic Act 10172, was it? I don't know, it will be shown later the slides. That implemented the same Republic Act that would detain anybody who financed terrorists. Here's his first State of the Nation address that addresses a ceasefire and what he plans to do and why he wants a ceasefire.
Let us end this decades of ambuscades and skirmishes. We are going nowhere, and it is getting bloodier by the day. I am now announcing a unilateral ceasefire with the CPP, NPA, NDF, effective immediately. We will strive to have a permanent and lasting peace before my term ends. That is
Here,
my goal.
the next slide is to really make it clear and to support further evidence. Here is the Republic Act number 10168. This was the same Republic Act I was talking about earlier. I think I somehow got it mixed up. And here it says any person or organization who directly or indirectly provide funds or financing and pay terrorists will be held liable under the Republic Act 10168, known as the Terrorism Financing Prevention and Suppression Act of 2012, will face the law. So basically, if you are caught financing the NPA or other terrorist groups, then you will be detained. The military was actually very public about these warnings, so it would make no sense for Duterte to be an NPA member and implement a law as strict as this. And furthermore, he was the same one who found the NTF-ELCAC, the NTF, Ending Local Communist Armed Conflict Organization. So, is it like sensible to label someone an NPA member if they founded an entire organization and if they implemented strict laws against terrorists and the NPA? Here is a comment that I found very interesting in when I was in the process of searching for more evidence. It says, galit kayo sa mga NPA, pero yung iniidolo nyo, tropa sila. So for me, this is just a demonstration of how important context and fact-checking is for for context, this picture is when taken was this picture was taken when Duterte was still trying to attempt to make peace with the NPA, because as he said in his Senate address, or the first video I showed you earlier, he was trying to, he said that he wanted permanent and lasting peace by the end of his term. That is his goal, that is his dream. This is another video.
Bakit pa ako makipag-usap sa kanila? Every time may ceasefire, pinapatay niya ang sundalo ko, pati polis ko, niyayari nila. O di gira na lang.
Hinamon din ni Duterte ang mga ito na magdemanda at sinabing hindi nababahala kahit magrevolusyon pa ang mga ito. Joshua Antonio, UNTV.
Okay, so let's have a little icebreaker per se. Who's that Pokemon? So basically, this is a very prominent figure, or a very important figure in the example, or the topic that I am making an example. This is Jose Maria Sison. Unfortunately, it's not Jose Maria Chan, guys. So if you guys don't know who Jose Maria Sison is, he is the founder of the NPA. And what I can about former President Rodrigo Duterte, here's another video.
Is the best recruiter of the CPP and the NPA because
So that's interesting.
he outrages
Here,
the people, he abuses
I
the
am
people,
going
so
to show
more
you
people
evidence
join
that
the
contradicts
Communist
his
Party.
statement.
Is the
According
best
to
recruiter.
an article by the Philippine News Agency, the Duterte administration made significant gains against the NPA. See, as far here is the acting spokesperson, Colonel Medel Aguilar, said that the armed threat was reduced by almost 74%. There used to be 89 guerrilla fronts when President Rodrigo assumed office in 2016, but as of June 30, they are reduced to 23. That is a very significant milestone. Furthermore, the NPA, for example, this is a very interesting video I found about the past president, Ferdinand Marcos Sr. I just divided the video into different parts so that it would be easier to analyze. So here we'll approach the first example, because about the video claims that Ferdinand Marcos built the biggest highway in the whole Philippines. But did that really do anything? Yes, it did something, but it had more cons than it did pros. So it was financed through large government spending and foreign borrowing. Critics long argued that Marcos's mega projects were showpiece infrastructure, which meant they were just for show, not for actual function, and massive borrowing during the Marcos era contributed to the great debt crisis of the Philippines during the 1980s. So as you can see here, during his term, we lost years of development, and during his term was the biggest decline of income per person in our history, and we only recovered in 2003, 21 years later. That's why we are so set back. And here is another snippet of the video claiming, okay, let's just watch it. Okay, so let's focus on the Bataan power plant. So the Bataan power plant cost over 2.3 billion and was never operated. It required roughly 1 billion in annual maintenance. Rehabilitation to make it functional is estimated to be about an additional 1 billion or 1.2 billion. So imagine how bad it is for the Filipinos that their president took loans from another country just to build something that didn't even work. See, the infrastructure push was funded by immense borrowings from the World Bank, meaning we had debts to pay, and these debts had interests. This is why we are so set back, guys. So, and then this next claim is about the sector of education. Apparently, the Philippines had the highest literacy rate when it was still Marcos's term. So, let's see if that's true. Data from international bodies like UNESCO Institute for Statistics shows that the Philippines did not have the highest literacy rate during the Marcos regime. As you can see here, World Bank database shows that the adult literacy rate in the Philippines went up to 96.3 by 1990. And this next claim again is another yes, this next claim is about the universities Marcos apparently built for our country. Okay, so the first one is the PSU, the Pangasinan State University. Apparently, the video claims that Marcos built it, but the Presidential Decree number 1497 establishes the PSU in the province of Pangasinan and creates PSU as a state university under government supervision. It integrates government supported colleges and schools in Pangasinan, which means that it just merged schools. Marcos did not build anything from scratch. Next is the Mariano Marcos State University. According to the Presidential Decree 1297, the decree hereby states that the institutions are hereby integrated into a state university. Again, it was just merged, schools merged together. Marcos did not build anything from scratch. And here, the Technological University of the Philippines. The Technological University of the Philippines was first established as the Manila Trade School in 1901 upon the enactment of Act number 74 by the United States Philippine Commission, meaning when this was built, we were still a part of America's colony. So no, Marcos did not build this. He did improve or at least establish some or added some programs, but he did not build this. See, while Marcos did not found the school, he did issue the letter of implementation, number 79 in 1978. The letter of implementation basically is the implementation of technical vocational courses like home economics or ICT, agri-fishery, many stuff like that. Actually, TechVoc was founded by, for further context, let's watch this video. Okay, so for further context, TechVoc was created by virtue of Republic Act 7796. I meant TESDA, sorry. TESDA was created by the virtue of 7796. It was not created by Marcos. Here are the facts though. Marcos did create the NYMC in 1973, but he did not create TESDA. TESDA was created much later by President Fidel V. Ramos in 1994 under the TESDA Act of 1994. TESDA is actually an amalgamation of many sectors like the National Manpower and Youth Council, the Bureau of Technical and Vocational Education, and then also other DOLE apprentice programs. And then finally, we're heading to misinformation. Misinformation is basically false information that you did not know was false. Here, I'm sure most of you guys know what this is. This is the International State College of the Philippines. For you guys who don't know what this is a gag school or gag joke amongst Filipinos who were so bored in the pandemic that they created their own schools. And it fooled so many people because look at how real this stuff is. They have merch, IDs, lanyards, and other stuff. It looks very professional, connected, and only did he realize that it was a gag when the admin of the page sent him message. So let's watch this video. Okay, so here's another example of misinformation. This is a post containing someone called I forgot his name, but someone from Wadia. It's Omar Aladdin. Yes, someone from Omar Aladdin from the country called Wadia. Yes, many Filipinos reposted this in belief that this Omar Aladdin helped them with oil and stuff and gasoline. And apparently he's Bato de la Rosa's ally, but that's not true because Aladdin is not real. He is a character in the movie The Dictator. This is why fact checking is very important, guys. People just believe anything these days. And now we are at the last in fake news sector. So this is malinformation. Malinformation is the deliberate dissemination of genuine factual information with the primary intent to cause harm, which means it's real information but it is used to cause harm. So if you guys don't know who this is Ron Angeles. He's an actor in the Philippines. He's also a singer under a very I think a relatively famous agency. I forgot the name. So his private videos got leaked online. It was a private video of him being intimate with his partner. So of course he filed a complaint, and his response to it was he was used to being judged and that he would choose to move on from that issue of his. But the legal battle is still ongoing against those hackers or those criminals who exposed or leaked his videos, and his associates and his fellow actors fell victim to the very same criminals too. Their intimate videos got leaked. I'm not sure why there are so many intimate videos, but okay. Anyways, this is actually a crime. The Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012 says so, or the Republic Act 10175. It provides a framework for investigating cyber-related and computer-assisted crime, meaning if you leak someone's info online, then that is already a crime. Misinformation can get you corrected. Disinformation can get you attacked. Malinformation can get you arrested. So be careful on what you choose to spread, guys, because you never know if you're gonna end up in handcuffs. Okay, so that's it for my presentation. Thank you so much for listening. See you in the next one. Bye.